So accept that recording, ladies and gentlemen. All right, good morning. Good morning. I'm excited this morning because videos are not things that I do often. And I see Karen is smirking there already because she has asked me to do many videos and I refuse to do them for some reason. So this is going to be interesting for me, and I hope it's interesting for you guys as well. If we are able to get an assistant to help us with that work, then certainly it's going to take some weight off our shoulder. Well, Dave is going to present some kind of assistant this morning, and one of his video actually went viral as a result of what he's doing. So you're going to want to listen to this guy. But before you do, Karen, any words?
Not really. I'm just looking forward to hearing what Dave has to say. And so he's sitting there in his lit up jacket, looking very handsome. And so he's going to be talking to us about the art of AI generated media. So Dave, take it away.
All righty, well, I have a presentation here, so let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. And can you guys all see that?
Yes.
Yep. And if I can get it to go full screen here. Okay, so my name is Dave Bolivar. I would describe myself as a digital artist and also a professional engineer. And today's topic will be using AI-generated art to elevate the appeal and impact of your online media posts. So the importance of storytelling in the olden days, people would gather around the campfire and exchange their stories. And in modern times, the campfire has been replaced with the internet. And people gather around and they're in the same room at the same table, but they're all looking at their phones. And it would seem to be that the most popular format on social media is the 3 to 4 minute video. If it's longer than that, people aren't going to give you the time. And if it's shorter than that, then maybe it doesn't convey enough information. And so storytelling really has never been more important. So this presentation is kind of divided into 3 sections. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about how AI works, the generative AIs, and to give you an idea model in your head when you're using it as to how to get it to do what you want. And then there's going to be a bunch of eye candy, little disparate pictures and videos, just showing you various things that you can do. And then at the end, I'm going to pull it all together with a 3 to 4 minute podcast style video, which kind of shows how it all comes together to tell a story. So generative AI, there's sort of 3 major types out there. You give it a text prompt input and you get text output. This would be your ChatGPT. It might answer your question. It might write a novel for you. It can do all kinds of stuff, but its output is basically text. And then we have another class of AIs where you have a text prompt and it generates an image. It can also start with an image, like a starting picture, and instead of generating an image from scratch, it modifies your picture. And then we also have another type of AI where you give it an image and a text prompt, and it gives you a video. Typically at this point, the videos are 5 to 10 seconds. And I want you to think of it like in the old days, if you were a farmer, you would bring your wheat to a mill and the miller would grind it into flour for you. And in modern times, it's the same process. You're going to take your digital inputs and you're going to bring it to the mill, which is an AI that's going to give you your digital outputs. And the processes are entirely mechanical in nature. I want you to think of that. There's a lot of hype out there that AI is some sort of a brain and it thinks, but it doesn't. It's just a machine. And in the very early days, the computers were entirely mechanical. They just basically added up numbers, but you can, a wind-up jewelry box that plays music, that's kind of a primitive computer. A player piano would be a primitive computer. And in our modern times, computers are all electronic. And everything your computer is doing is broken down into 4 Boolean arithmetic operations, and, or, exclusive, or, and not. You can look that up. It's pretty arcane little operations, but if you combine those logic gates, you can build circuits that perform all the computer functions. You can build a circuit called an adder that adds numbers like we do. And a Pentium processor has approximately 7 million logic gates, and say a 3 gigahertz laptop sitting on your desk is doing billions and quadrillions of logic gate operations per second. 3 gigahertz laptop can add 1.5 billion numbers in 1 second. It's so fast. And it appears to be, it may appear to be thinking, but it's really not. It's an illusion. Much like the video that you're looking at right now, you're probably receiving somewhere between 20 and 30 frames a second, separate pictures. But the way the human eye works, once you go past 18 frames a second, it appears to be smooth motion. And so, you know, you're on your computer, you got your browser open, your emails open, a couple other apps are open. They all appear to be working on their own, but really what's happening is the computer is skipping from one to the other, and it just is so fast that you can't see what's happening. Now, generative AI is, I'm going to talk first about how the text ones work. So I think this is the easiest one to kind of grasp. And GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. This is a type of AI that's been, say, set loose on the internet and digested all the text that it can find, typically like ChatGPT and those sort of things. And a way to think about how it operates, this is a very simple model. It's way more complicated than this, but this will give you an idea of how you get it to do what you want, is with word clouds. So it has from its training database word clouds of what word goes with what other word. And so if your prompt that you gave it was the word elephant, okay, there's certain words that go in front of elephant. So if you look at this little picture here, I got elephant in the middle, and on the left side, I've got some words: gray, Indian, African, pink. These would be sensible words to put in front of elephant. You wouldn't put nuclear and stuff like that, but those 4 words, there's a lot more words than that, but I'm just making it simple. And then on the right side, there's words that would make sense after the word elephant: runs, grazes, sits, swims, and so on and so forth. Now, when the GPT is building a sentence and it has, for example, a choice of 4 words to put in front of elephant, it just randomly picks one. It just has a 4-sided dice, and it picks maybe the word Indian or picks the word African. Then it puts the word elephant, and then it picks one on the end. Might be runs, might be grazes. Every time you run it, you get something different. So I'm showing you here outputs that you would typically get here would be gray elephant runs, African elephant looks, pink elephant swims, etc. So that's how it works with text. And when we get into images, it's a similar process. There's objects like people, animals, and there's other elements of images that it knows about, like color schemes and various styles. So here on the left, we have a picture of a beautiful woman on a sunny day at the beach. And on the right, we have a picture of a deer who is in a meadow and is about to bound off into wherever. And there's just sort of, when you want to get it to draw something, you've got to think about, okay, this AI was unleashed onto the internet, and what did it find? So here on the left, we have an image of some fairies and a mermaid. On the right, we have a cat playing a guitar to a cat concert, something that doesn't really exist. And this is something I'm going to get into a little bit more here that you can get AI to do. These crazy kind of things where you combine elements that really normally are not combined. And here we have a cityscape on the left with a big moon. And on the right, we have an aurora borealis. These are all things that you just give it these words and it pulls these image elements and it puts them together in a sensible way. And you can also do some pretty crazy things. Here on the left, we have, which is basically, I believe, an Egyptian steampunk camel dog. So you give it a prompt like that, and that's what it comes up with. And on the right, there's a sailboat, but if you look carefully, you'll see that it's in a textile kind of style. It's actually mimicking a hooked rug. So it's making it look like it's made of fabric. So not only does it know about objects, but it knows about styles and color schemes. And here on the left, we have an Egyptian Queen of the Nile. So it's kind of Egyptian format. It likes to put pyramids in whenever you ask it to do Egyptian things. And on the right, we have a woman, and this is a woman in line art style. So it's just black and white, and it's just basically someone mimicking someone doing it with a pencil. And here on the left, we have a picture of a man, and this is a cubist style. And on the right, we have a picture of a woman, and this is a piquette style, which is very pinky. There's just a lot of pink in that style. And it doesn't have to be people. Here we have a boho style on the left. It's kind of a wallpaper thing. And on the right, we have a Matisse style. And then you can combine very unlikely objects. Here on the left, we have a broccoli tree. If you ever wonder where broccoli comes from, it grows on trees. And on the right, we have a carrot tree. Again, carrots grow on trees. And these may seem like crazy pictures, but these are actually used by friends of mine who sell pickled goods and dehydrated goods at various fairs and markets, and they put these pictures on their table, and people are milling around, and they're a little shy to come in and talk to them, but when they see these pictures, they're really curious. And actually, in some cases, they sell these pictures because people find them so, they sort of, the carrot one in particular is very popular because people can put it in their kitchen and get their kids to eat carrots. And then here we have some pictures where we combine, like on the left is a jar head. So it's a combination of a man and glass. And on the right, we have a glass panther. So panthers aren't made of glass, but the AI can kind of do that sort of thing. And so when you're telling your story, you want to come up with these really compelling images that are kind of bizarre, but not too bizarre, because people will remember these. They'll stick in their minds. And here on the left, we have a glass man. And on the right, we have men with tails. I've always wondered personally what it would be like if humans had tails. And so I got the AI to draw some men with big, bushy squirrel tails. So that's what we would look like. And, you know, what sort of, how would be able to slap people in the head with it, you know, that kind of thing. It's very curious as to how our society would run if we had tails, but we don't. And here we have some images where on the left, these are wheat people. So this is a combination of people and wheat. And on the right, we have corn people. So these are people of the corn, made of corn, as you can see. Completely fictitious, but striking. It's something you remember when you see it. And you can also modify pictures. So here on the right, we have a picture of my buddy Jeff and I, and we had just won the Intergalactic Bocce Ball Championship. And I thought that we needed to sort of amp our outfits a bit. So if you look on the right, at the top, that's us again with some fancy outfits on. And on the bottom, that's us as we would look like as women. And I don't know, it's probably better that we're men, because if we look that hot, the world might not be safe. And here are some friends of mine. We were at Burning Man and on the left, and I thought we needed to sort of amp our outfits and give us sort of an Egyptian steampunk look on the right. Did a pretty good job, except Maureen turned out as a guy, but oh well. Still looks a pretty good looking picture. And this one's a little more subtle. This is my buddy Damien on the left, and on the right, just a little more badass. And so the next part here, we're going to talk about converting an image to a video. So on the left, there's a picture of some tents, and I wanted some drone footage. I wasn't allowed to use a drone at this campground, so I got the AI to do it for me. Here, I'll show it to you again. And this is completely made up out of that picture. So actually, someone accused me of actually using a drone, which I wasn't allowed to do, but it was all AI generated. Here's another one. I told it to add some UFOs to the video just to make it a bit more interesting. Show it to you again here. So it entirely added all those little things, and you can see the various perspectives on the tents, and maybe it added a couple tents. And here's that line drawing of the woman, and I just told it to make her spin around and make her hair blow in the wind. It's just a bit more compelling than just a static picture. This one's a man on the beach. Just made it do a little pan zoom and come up a little closer, make him smile, bend his arms a bit. It's just a more compelling bit of video footage. And we have a beautiful woman on the beach with her hair blowing in the wind. This makes it a bit more striking. We have a couple on a beach on the left. And just animate that video a bit with a beautiful sunset. You know, this one's a bit psychedelic. There's a man coming out of maybe a UFO or something. Here's where we had our Christmas party, and I wanted something a little more compelling than just a static picture of the front of the store. So I told it to add some cars. That's what it did. You'll notice there's no drivers in the cars because I forgot to tell it to do that. So they're driverless cars, but minor details. And here's a picture of myself and my buddy Manuel on the left. And I needed some video footage of us walking down the beach rather than just a picture of us on the beach. So all this motion that it's doing is entirely generated by the AI. And here's a picture from the Christmas party on the left. And I wanted to make it a bit more compelling. So we've got, I had the AI make people turn and look at me. Actually, people are looking at the, well, it doesn't want to animate that one. People are looking at the camera, but it got them to turn their heads and look at me. This one is trying to capture the sort of the feeling of the 1920s, the flapper flapper dress and that kind of lush style. So the AI did a very good job to give this woman the right sort of swagger and the way she walks to convey that feeling. Here we have a girl. This is kind of a Victorian style video. The colors are a little muted, and she's just walking her dog. And here we have a woman with a goat. And no, it doesn't want to animate that one. But the AI added that second woman that came in there. And this is the last animation one. This is kind of a cartoon. I call it Cat Power. And so the last part of the show here, I'm going to show you this video. It was about a party that I attended a couple of weeks ago, and just kind of pull it all together. One part here that I'm not really talking about too much is the audio. So there is a text to audio type services. They're kind of complicated to use, but this video has a podcast style with two voices, male and female. The text input was a single page story. The AI writes the script, and the final audio is edited by myself. So I'll start this video up for you.
All right, so you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Today, we're going deep on a single source.
Oh, cool. A first-hand account.
Exactly. A night out in Toronto.
Oh, yeah. A wild one from the sounds of it.
January, snow's falling, city's buzzing, you know, that whole vibe.
Okay, I can picture it.
And in the middle of all this, there's this event called Whiteout.
Whiteout. Sounds interesting.
Right, so that's our mission today. What is Whiteout?
Let's find out.
Now, the author starts by describing, like, the pregame scene with their friends. And get this, they were all wearing LED jackets.
LED jackets. Wow, they're going all out.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like they're already part of the art even before they leave the house.
So they're not just heading to any club, are they? This whiteout thing sounds pretty unique.
You got it. They're going to this place called the Axis Club.
The Axis Club. Okay.
It's hosted by this group called the Metaverse Arts Collective.
Metaverse Arts Collective, huh?
Yeah, and their whole thing is like making lives better through art, music, and fire. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's a powerful mission statement. Art, music, and fire. You don't hear that every day. So what kind of art are we talking about here?
Well, they have these three guiding principles: return on community, perpetual learning, and unity.
I like that. It's not just about the spectacle, but about creating something meaningful.
Yeah, there's definitely a deeper purpose there.
Well, our source said that the crowd was kind of sparse early on.
Warming up?
Yeah, maybe taking it easy with that 90s DJ set they had going.
Makes sense. Got to pace yourself.
But then things really got going after 11 p.m.
Oh, yeah, so the energy shifted.
Big time.
Hmm.
The music got more intense, and the crowd, mostly younger people, really got into it.
I bet.
It had this really immersive feel, but here's the interesting part. Our source said most people were just drinking water.
What?
Yeah, guess all that dancing makes you thirsty.
Makes sense. It's like a healthy rave.
Right, so different from the usual club scene.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So what else contributed to this immersive vibe?
Oh, they had it all. Stunning decorations, lasers, dancers on stage, even a giant white bear.
No way.
And someone on stilts, too.
Whoa. Sounds like a visual feast.
Definitely.
And speaking of staying connected, our source mentioned using WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah, to share pictures and videos with friends who couldn't make it.
Smart.
Yeah.
Keeps everyone in the loop.
And it shows how technology can extend the experience beyond the physical space.
Right. Even if you weren't there, you could still feel part of it.
Exactly.
All right, now hold on, because this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The night continues on the Wiggle Room bus.
The what?
The Wiggle Room bus. A psychedelically painted bus blasting music with laser lights. The party doesn't stop even on the way to the After Hours Club.
Wow, they really committed to the theme.
Oh, yeah.
And this After Hours Club, the Wiggle Room, it sounds like it had a similar vibe.
Totally.
A mix of people from Whiteout and other places, everyone dancing till dawn.
6 a.m. Talk about an epic all-nighter. Our source said they were ready for a wheelchair by the end. But the photos and videos they took confirmed it was all worth it.
You know, I think this experience goes beyond just a fun night out.
In what way?
Well, it shows this trend of people looking for immersive, community-driven experiences.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Right. It raises questions about how we connect with each other and what really makes an experience stick with us.
Absolutely.
Here.
So to everyone listening out there, think about your ideal epic night out.
What would that look like for you?
Is it about losing yourself in the music, connecting with people, pushing your boundaries?
What experiences do you crave? And how do you want to connect with others?
We got a glimpse into one person's incredible night, but now it's your turn to figure out what makes your experiences meaningful.
Awesome.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
So there's a sample video. There's all those videos are on my website, swimmingcat.com. That particular one that you just saw is there in 4 different languages. And basically, just to go over what I do, what I would call the final assembly of an English podcast is $500. And that's basically like you're bringing your wagon of wheat to me and I'm going to process it. Anything, if you don't have your stuff ready, that's additional charges. I can translate that English video into 175 different languages. It's $30 for each translation. Any other activities, helping you gather your information, helping you gather your photos and that kind of thing, it's $60 an hour. You can make contact here at my email address, dave@swimmingcat.com, and certainly check out my website for more information. And that's it for my presentation.
Awesome, awesome. Dave, if you can stop sharing the screen so we can see everyone.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it does.
Yeah, I can stop it for you.
Okay, because it doesn't seem to say stop. It says I can share something else.
Okay.
All right,
Let's
so if
see.
you can do it, that would be good.
Yeah, I'm missing my button too. But while I'm stopping the screen, let's open up for question. If you have a digital, if you know where to find the digital hand, just click it so that you come to the front and then go ahead and ask your question.
Dave, I can say something.
Go ahead, Cliff, for me, please.
Dave, that was an excellent presentation. I have a couple of questions for you, but I just wanted to tell you one thing. Your security certificate on your website is out of date because in any of my browsers, it's being blocked, saying it's unsafe. So you might want to just look into that.
It's not an SSL website, so some browsers will say that because they're SSL Nazis, but
yeah, because it's going to it's going to HTTPS.
yeah, well, it's HTTP, and I don't know why the browsers just ignore that, and they just want to make everyone have to buy SSL certificates or something.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought, I mean, you can get a free one, I think. Most housing places give you a free certificate. But anyway, I just sort of mentioned that. It was a great presentation. Obviously your engineering background comes in pretty handy here, I would think, from what you're doing. What are you
It
using for images? MidJourney, or what are you doing?
Well, I use a bunch of different ones. I listed MidJourney there and ChatGPT as good places for people to start. Some of the ones I use are kind of a bear to use, so to speak. But if you're trying to make a little video and you just want to throw in a bit of juicy content, then MidJourney is an excellent tool for that.
Because Photoshop now has so many things in it. It's quite amazing. But yeah, it's fascinating field.
Yeah, well, there's so many of them. Like there's some that do product placement. There's just so many different ones, and you really have to kind of shop around, and you'll figure out, okay, I got a bunch of ones here. I figured out that I want to use, and then 2 months from now, it'll be a totally different landscape. It's always changing.
Wow.
It is. It's really changed. I mean, about a year ago, there were like you could use the free Adobe one, Firefly, and I was generating images of unicorns and things for my grandchildren. And you'd put in a unicorn and it would have 3 legs. And funny thing is, you wouldn't even notice for a minute. And then I had to specifically say, I want 4 legs. And it was very interesting. But now I think it's got a lot better.
Yeah, it for a long time had a really hard time with hands.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would have 6 fingers and stuff like that. They seem to have focused on faces in the beginning. They get it to render faces properly, and the rest of it's kind of iffy. And animals are sometimes difficult, like you'll get a 3-legged or a 5-legged animal, that kind of thing. But and a year ago, the image to video was just ridiculously dumb, and it's just so improved now. But there with your text prompt, you have to kind of imagine the videos that it's been trained on and the things that it would know to do. So it knows how to make people walk and people dance and that kind of thing. So you can build that out. So you have to kind of think of these word associations when you're trying to get it to do what you want, and you won't get it to draw something exactly as you envisioned it. And the objective for me is to convey a feeling. So if the image conveys the feeling that I want, it may not be exactly what I had in mind, then I've hit the target.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so let's do this, Dave and Cliff. Let's go to Karen. Then Mona, I'm going to come to you because I know you have to leave at 9 o'clock. So Karen, go ahead, please.
Mine is actually, you answered my question about MidJourney. I was just wondering what site, but I have to say that I loved your presentation. It was right in my my park, and now I have a new toy to play with, so I can't wait to start playing. So thank you very much. I love
It can
this.
be very addictive, and I started by using it in the evening when I wasn't working, and oh my God, after dinner, the next thing you know, it's 11:30. Like you just
Yeah,
so much
so
fun.
yeah, I'm really excited to try it. Thank you so much. This was great.
And the good ones are the ones you pay for. The free ones basically stink. So do yourself a favor and put a bit of money into the account, and that's where you're going to get. When you're paying them, they're going to have software developers working on this thing and tuning it up and that kind of stuff. The free ones, they're just trying to, suck your information or whatever they're trying to get out of you. I mean, they're not free. You're giving up something. It's like email. You're getting free email, but you're giving them all your information. People do have privacy concerns about the AI, but if you pay somebody to process your pictures, okay, it's no different than you paying someone to water your plants while you're away. And if they have a party at your house, they're in big trouble because you only paid them to water your plants.
One quick question. You mentioned ChatGPT. They do images?
I believe so. I use them more for text.
Yeah.
The reason I kind of talked about the ChatGPT, because this was all about images, is I think people seem to understand the word cloud idea. They seem to get that. But when you get into images, image clouds, like it really kind of doesn't make so much sense. But once you understand the word cloud idea for generating text, then you can understand, okay, there's image attribute clouds. Okay, what's the color scheme? What's the style? What's the texture? All those sorts of things.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's move into Mona because she's going to be leaving soon. So Mona, I'm sure, give us your comment, and if you have any questions, give us that as well.
Yeah, I have a comment and a question. I think, because for instance, some of my clients, they are with a tighter budget. They probably need some specific photography, but they can't afford a photographer. So in that case, you can definitely help my clients to enhance their photos by AI. For instance, they can take photos by their mobile phones and pass to you. And also my question is about data as well. For instance, if the client asks you to generate, for instance, a video of Taylor Swift promoting their product, I guess it's not allowed, right? You won't do that. Because if I were you, I wouldn't do that for sure.
When you use these AI services, you own the media. You have the copyright; it's yours. But they do not guarantee that you're not going to trip up on a trademark. So if you made a Taylor Swift video, and you could definitely do that, and you don't have a letter from Taylor Swift allowing you to do that, then you're going to be in some hot water.
Yeah, true.
And that video that I just showed you, it's a portrait style video, which is what I'd recommend. It just pops on the on the phones. And if you go to the website, swimmingcat.com, and look at them with your phone, you'll just see it pops because it takes over the entire screen in that particular format. And to convert images to videos, you need like a 4K image, at least an HD image, 2 megapixels. If you're using like small images, maybe someone sent them to you through WhatsApp or text message, those things are dumbed down to 100 or 200 K, and it doesn't do as good a job. You can get it to do it, but you'll have to retry a few times usually to get the results you want. And even when the AI produces something visually inconsistent, you still have to pay for it. So to save your money, start with 4K pictures. And that video that I just showed you, that was entirely shot on my Samsung cell phone, the real footage, and just mixed them together with the AI footage.
Okay, so you can do it with your phone, at least use the images from your phone.
Yeah, yeah. The modern phones now, they'll do 4K pictures, so and HD videos, and that's where you want to start.
So we're looking for more questions. So Khaled, I'm going to come to you in a second, so get your question ready. But Dave, you had a lot of views on some of these videos that you create. What's stimulating the views? Where is it coming from? How does it come? What do you need to do to get those views?
Well, I do put these videos up on my Facebook page, and just because I find Facebook, it gives me the best metrics and I don't really want to spend a lot of time on social media. And there was one there. It's on my the Swimming Cat homepage. It's called the Harvest Festival, which was a festival in September of 2024. That video has had something like 6,300 views on Facebook. It had 4,000 views in the first 2 days. And
Wow.
I posted it in the Harvest group, and it just went crazy. Usually the other videos that I post, I mean, I think about 1,100 friends on Facebook. I don't know hardly any of them, but if Facebook recommends someone to be a friend, I say yes. And I usually get a few hundred views, which I consider to be pretty good.
Crazy. Call it, unmute yourself. Comment,
Um,
questions.
Amazing presentation. I have learned a lot. I wish to find out, Dave, how can I get the best of this as a PR person in my industry, with respect to PR campaigns and also maybe yes, PR campaigns.
Well, we could talk about what your objectives are and what messages you want to get out. And I gave you the price there to assemble the videos. And they're timeless. And I can brand them with your contact information across the top, that kind of thing. We just got to, just come up with your goals. What are the messages you want to get out there? And then it's up to you to post them wherever. I recommend 3 to 4 minutes. That seems to be the most appeal. All the social media platforms like Facebook and Pinterest and X and all those guys, I mean, they limit you to 5 minutes. And one of the reasons to use a 3 to 4 minute video in English, I can only do them in English first, is when they're converted to another language, they always come out longer. Usually it adds about 45 seconds. So if your video is 3.5 minutes and you add 45 seconds, now you're into 4 minutes and 15 seconds. You're still under that 5 minute threshold. And I only speak English, so I've just had to rely on my friends, but the French and the Spanish and the Polish, even the Hindi, they're all excellent translations. So you can get your message out in multiple languages, which is really a nice way and people like to listen to stuff, and to listen to it in their own tongue really draws them in.
Mhm.
Colette, I know you're looking at an international business. So what languages would you be looking?
I actually speak French too. I speak English, I speak French,
Mhm.
and also I'm working on my Finnish. And
Yes, it
where
does a
I
good
am,
job on
Finland. Mhm.
it does a good job on Finnish apparently, because I've done Finnish
Okay.
once.
Yeah, so I am into 3 languages right now, excluding my tribal language.
Mhm.
Okay.
You would
Well,
have to train it with that one.
there's 165 languages listed. I mean, I've only tried a few of them. It does it doesn't do both Chinese languages. It does one of them. I forget which one it is, but I was told it was pretty good. And it
Okay.
does 2 different Indian languages. The Hindi is kind of the national language. It does a good job on that one.
I
Okay.
took your contact. I'll reach out to you. You don't mind.
Well,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I speak French as well, but I'm struggling with Canadian French accent.
Okay. Oh.
Sorry.
well,
So do those of us that live in Canada.
well, with French and Spanish, for example, you can pick the accent. So it can do Canadian French and it can do Parisian French and the Spanish, Mexican Spanish and Argentinian Spanish. I don't know the difference, but I have I have friends from Argentina and I have friends from Mexico, and they think they're great.
Interesting. Anything else you guys want to say on that?
Yeah,
Mona,
thank you.
Colette? No,
Thank you.
you're
That
good.
was
You're good to go.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you so
good.
much.
Dave, did you put your information in the chat? Your contact information?
I'll do that right now.
All right, good stuff. And let's open up for more questions.
So, Dave, it appears that at least in a small way, AI on my home computer can create the same kind of CGI effects that we see in a Marvel movie. Is that correct?
Well, it's not running on your home computer. Okay. These are all cloud services that I use. So I am using my laptop, but it's really just sending, the text prompt and the image and that kind of stuff up to the cloud. And the cloud service providers, I mean, they've got the big iron with the NVIDIA coprocessors and all that kind of stuff. And you're just paying for, you need that giant big machine for 8 seconds. That's all you're paying for. You don't have to have the thing in your house and deal with all you know, the white coats that are needed to keep those things going.
Well, that's why I'm asking. But it's right now still very, very small, 3-4 second clips or 3-4 minute clips.
No, the maximum that I can get is 10 seconds. So,
But and you can't totally control the output.
not totally. You go for a feeling kind of thing or a message that you want it. The backbone is the audio. So I do the audio first and then I add the pictures to it. I have found that if videos are all entirely AI generated, they don't appeal to everybody. I mean, it's kind of like a little too cartoony or whatever. But when you mix real video with some AI, to do the transitions and to tell the story, then that seems to really be popular with everybody.
I was impressed with the conversation, but it still felt very monotone.
It is,
characters.
yeah. But and I'm sure that will improve over time, but it's still it does have that sort of CNN feel to it. Those voices are really good.
Why does it sound monotone, Lawrence? Is that because they're almost perfect?
No, they don't vary the way they talk. It's all in one tone. There is no
No
change
emotions.
or rise and lower of their tone while they talk, unlike real people.
Well, that is true, and I will tell you, I have to edit what the AI does in that part. The audio is probably the hardest part of the whole thing, and the cadence is perfect, and it makes the editing easy. So I kind of appreciate that in a way. But if you could also you could also do your own voice and do the audio first that you want to do, or I think having two people banter back and forth is even more compelling than just one person. You can build it out that way. But so far, I've found that those voices seem to have the most appeal so far.
I missed the very beginning of that part of the conversation. You're talking about the podcast?
Yes, the
Yeah,
podcast.
I thought that he sounded pretty good to me. It was the woman that I heard. It was like a combination. At some point she was monotone, and then and like the last half of the sentence she sounded real. It was, but I thought he sounded pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it'll just get better over time. And I think it's pretty good.
I think this is great. Love it.
Okay. We haven't heard from Andrew yet or Jav. So if you guys want to come up and give your opinion, your comments, feel free to do so.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very good. At the same time, I was impressed indeed by the generated voiceover effect with mixed videos by MidJourney. And yes, honestly, I'm impressed of what AI is going to do. I wonder how it's going to impact the movie industry.
Well, I think this is my prediction that maybe in a year or 2 years or 3 years out, that you'll be able to just type in what you want and it'll generate for you a 90-minute movie with the characters you want, the actors you want, the scene you want, and the ending that you want. And it's going to be interesting because everybody's going to be living in their own little private Idaho. And we're not all going to be seeing the same movies and the same TV shows. I'll look at ones that I want to look at, and you'll look at ones that you want to look at. And over time, we will just have maybe no common language at all or no common culture. I don't know how that is going to affect us, but it's an interesting question.
I mean, Chav, we're going back almost 20 years ago, but there was a comic book, the premise of which was that the main character was an actor who was now out of work because he'd been replaced by a CGI, cartoon replacement about him.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I also think too, like, I find face-to-face meetings with people, I mean, it's nice to have a combination of this electronic stuff, but the face-to-face, when you're in the same room with people and you're picking up their energy and interacting with them is even more special and more potent than, just watching Netflix all the time or whatever.
Yeah, that movie thing, I'm thinking about it myself because it almost seems like you can right now create your own movie. You might have to piece it together, but that's what editing is. But certainly
Yeah,
you
but
can do that.
it will get so smooth, I think, that, a 3-year-old will be able to talk into a microphone and, 2 minutes later, there's the video. It's an hour and a half long, of whatever it is they wanted to see.
Yeah,
So that's
crazy.
a very interesting effect on how we interact,
But
because
let's hear from Andrew.
I had to duck out during the presentation, but so there is actually a movie that I heard is in the works that is done entirely by AI. So right now there are a few trailers, and when you look at it, you can tell that it's AI because certain things are missing, but they are working on a movie that is entirely AI.
yeah, no, it just gets better and better. There's lots of money being poured into it and lots of brain power. And then I'm sure everyone's heard the DeepSeek, which uses 1/50th of the resources of the American AI. And an interesting observation there is the way Chinese minds are trained versus the way our minds are trained. We all learn to read and write with the Latin alphabet with 26 letters. The Chinese, in order to be literate in Chinese, because every word has a letter, you need to know an alphabet of about 2,500 characters. So it's and considering you start school at age 5, that's a very different brain that's trained to deal with that kind of alphabet versus an alphabet of 26 letters. So
I have a
I'm not
question
surprised
actually.
they're great. But on the other hand, And English is a very mutable language. English just picks up words from other languages as needed, and we twist the meaning of words. We have the word Google, which used to be the name of a company, and now it's a verb. And the mutable languages are more for creativity. So people that speak the mutable languages are capable of coming up with radical new ideas because the language they use is so flexible.
Go ahead with your question, Andrew.
Yeah. So some of the images and videos that in your presentation were really cool. I was wondering what you used to create them. I know in the beginning you mentioned a few different ones like ChatGPT or MidJourney, but what did you use to create yours?
I would recommend using MidJourney. I'm not going to give up my secret sauce. I use a number of different AIs, but MidJourney is a great place to start, and it can generate images similar to what I showed you.
Cool.
I can just say one thing on that DeepSeek. You know, it was the #1 downloaded app, I think, in the States. And there's a lot of people talking about security. And there's a senator in the States. We know that, with the greatest respect to Karen, you know, there's a few unusual things going on down there. But anyway, Senator Hawley is proposing right now to make it a crime to download DeepSeek in the US and punishable up to 20 years in prison and $1 million worth of fines. But anyway, for those of us still living in the free world, we can probably download it. But just out of interest, Perplexity, if anybody's using perplexity.ai, you can use them right now. And if you go to their page and you'll see a little box saying auto, under there, it's got reasoning R1, and you can use DeepSeek through them. So if you want to try it out,
Really?
download it yourself.
Yeah, I would caution
Yeah.
you to use AIs that you pay for, because then you have a contract, a legally binding contract, and they can only do with your information what they say they're going to do, which is basically mill it into flour for you. When you use a free AI, you got to read the phone book full of terms and conditions, but I'm sure you know what goes on there. They're just scooping up your data in return for a service.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. Any more questions?
I did have one, but I forgot it.
Okay, so hang on. I'm going to stop the recording. So if you have one that you don't want to be recorded, you can ask it now.